Let's show you how to search an array of objects for a specific value. I'm going to create a project, and I'm going to go ahead and call it Search Array of Objects. Big name, but it will do. And the first thing I'm going to do is come over to my package, and I'm going to create a class. New Java class. We'll call this Team, and I'll click the word Finish, and then I'm going to give it an attribute. I'll call it String Team Name, and I'll do int wins. And while I'm in here, I'm going to go ahead and create some getters and setters. The way I do that is I right mouse click and I choose getter setter, and I will highlight both of those attributes and click generate. Notice it automatically makes my code for me, and I'm going to go ahead and also create a constructor. Right mouse click, insert code, constructor, and I'm going to supply it with both of the values. So there it made my new constructor, which says receive two parameters. One's a team name of type string, another is wins of type int, and then we take those parameters and assign them to the attributes for the object. Come back over here, and I'm going to go ahead and create an array of those objects. And so the first thing I'll do is specify the class name, make it an array, and I'll give it a name, a variable name, equals new teams, and we'll say that it has 3 elements in it. Now that I have the array set up, the array AO teams of type teams, and it will have 3 positions, 0, 1, and 2, I'm going to go ahead and create objects. I'm just going to hard code those values by calling the constructor. So I'll say AO teams, and I'll specify the element of the array. So I'm going to start at the first element is equal to new, and then we'll call the constructor. And remember, I created that brand new constructor in the teams class that says you can receive a team name and wins. So I'll come over here and specify team name, BYU, and wins 18. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to copy and paste, but I'm going to do the same thing for position 1. WSU, we'll say that they had 17, and we'll say USU, they had 16. So by the time I'm done with those statements, I've now created a variable AO teams that's going to be an array of team objects. There'll be 3 of them, which will be positions 0, 1, and 2. And in each of those positions, I've created a new object by calling the constructor, and I passed it 2 values. And this corresponds with the constructor that I made over in my class for team name and wins. Now that I have those values in there, I want to prompt the user to say which team do I want to search for. So the first thing I need to do is come back up to here and create a scanner object. I'll call mine OS scan equals new scanner system.in. I'm going to create another one, OI scan equals new scanner system.in. And if you notice, they say, hey, what are you doing? We don't know who that is, so I'll click on this little symbol and say add the import. It adds the import for scanner, and we have it right there. I'm also going to create 2 variables. One's going to be string s team name, and another is going to be int I wins. I'm going to use those to do some searching. I need to now do a for loop. What I'm going to do is process through the entire loop of the arrays one by one, looking at each object and looking at the team name to see if it matches whatever the user enters in. So let's prompt the user to enter a team name. We'll say s team name equals os scan.next line, Once again, the reason I make more than one scanner object is so I don't have to worry about flushing the buffer. Now I want to process through the entire array, looking at each one to see if it matches the team name I just entered in. So I'll create a variable. I'll go ahead and declare iCount within the loop. And we'll say as long as iCount is less than the array length, and then we'll increment iCount. Then we just say if, and the logic is if the team name of that array object is equal to whatever we typed in, then we can display I found it, display the number of wins, and get out. So you'd say AO teams bracket iCount. Bracket iCount says we'll start at 0, then go to 1, then go to 2, and so forth until we're done with the array. Dot, that returns an object. And since it returns an object, we can now access attributes of that object, like team name. Within team name, it returns a string. String is also an object. That means we can access the method equals ignore case. And then we'll type in the variable that we have the data. This now says if within the current object the attribute team name equals ignoring case whatever I typed in from the keyboard up here, then I can say the team has get wins. So this will show the number of wins for that team. And then I need something to say get out of the loop. Well, what's currently keeping in the loop? iCount is keeping you in the loop. As long as it is less than the length of the teams, stay in the loop. So what I can do is say iCount is equal to AO teams dot length plus 1. Actually, I could even get away with just saying length because it will automatically be incremented right here. The next time it comes back up, it will say, hey, iCount is no longer less than the length of the team, gets out of the loop. Let's go ahead and run that, and you can see how it works. So I run that, enter a team name. Let's look for WSU, and it says, found it. Let's try it again. Let's type in U of U. Didn't find it. What does that mean I could also do? Well, how about this? Let's take this code. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to paste it here, and I'll say enter the wins. In other words, we're going to type in the number of wins, and we'll see which team has the wins. I wins, and this will be OI scan. We call it I wins and OI scan. And we're going to do a next int. Enter the number of wins. We'll get the wins from the keyboard as an integer, store it to I wins. We'll use that same loop, and this time, instead of saying the team name, we still know that AO teams bracket iCount returns an object, but we could say go get the number of wins and see if it's equal to I wins. And if so, then let's go ahead and print the team name. The team is, right here, instead of saying get wins, we'll say get team name, and then we'll get out of the loop. Let me show you that code one more time. Don't forget the semicolon at the end. System.out.println, the team name is, we'll print off the team by getting the team name for the current object, set the counter, it gets you out of the loop. Let's run that. Enter the team name, BYU, we found them. Let's look for the number of wins of 16, and it found USU.